Welcome to the talk show Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. The goal of this show is to provide a learning experience to people of all ages, with guests from various fields in academics, a wide range of industries, and insight into the many forms of art, athletics, and entertainment. We hope you enjoy the show. Drug recovery advocate Terence Fredericks is today's guest. Terence will speak about his incredible road to recovery, as well as being featured in the upcoming documentary, Surviving the Hill.
Terence Fredericks, welcome to Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.
Thank you. Thank you.
So nice to have you here. A lot of serious stuff to discuss today. So, Terence, what started you down that dark path of drug addiction?
When I was younger, I was in a household where my father was abusive to my mother, and what happened was I listened to my father beat my mother into a coma at the age of 7. And like I kept standing at the door saying, I'm going to go in and stop him. I'm going to go in and stop him. And I never did. And I blame myself for many years for that. So in blaming myself, I didn't want to be who I was. So I started using other substances to get me outside of myself, so I wouldn't have to feel the feelings that I had.
And what age did that start? And what were some of these things you started with to feel outside yourself?
I got drunk. My mother told me the story of I got drunk when I was like 18 months old. We used to have family parties, and I was walking around draining the cups when everybody else was sleeping drunk. So I was draining cups and I got drunk. But I officially started when I was like 9 years old was the first time I ever got drunk. And I got drunk to the point where I was throwing up all night, you know, and my mom thought I was sick, and my dad came in and he knew I was drunk and he helped me through it.
So it started with alcohol.
Yes.
What came next and at what ages? Now you're talking about being alone, but then there's peer pressure and all that, and you know what you can get in front of you changes.
Yes. Yeah, I started then about, I want to say about 13, 14, I started smoking weed. And then when I came out of the military around around 21, I started smoking crack. Seriously, you know. And I'm a what you call a combat war veteran. So I came through the war. I was in Desert Storm, and I saw one of my compadres get blown up by a landmine. So I suffer from PTSD. And in dealing and coping with that, like I never wanted to go to sleep because I always woke up with the same dream. So smoking crack kept me up for days, so I didn't have to go to sleep, so I didn't have to wake up with the tremors and the nightmares and stuff like that.
You know, we often hear, Terence, how devastating drug addiction is, but to also the friends and the family of the person who's involved. How did your friends and family suffer along with you?
Well, addiction is a family disease. The family always suffers. We don't, as addicts, when we're using, we don't see it that way. We think that we're only hurting ourselves, but in actuality, we're hurting our family because we're taking away from time. We're making them stress out about our whereabouts and are we safe, and they're very nervous about what's going on with us, but we're always running and we don't see it as a family problem. We see it as an our problem until you come into recovery and get help, and then you start to see the ramifications of your actions and what it does to your family.
Well, you know, and so along those lines, who approached you first? Family, friends, about stopping?
My father was a heroin addict, so my mother knew that I was an addict, but I didn't care who approached me. It didn't stop me. I stopped because of police intervention. You know, I went to jail, and by God's grace, they had a drug court program, and they put me in drug court. And in drug court, as I was going into the courtroom, I was trying to finagle my way out, and I told the judge a story like, listen, I'm an addict. This bail is a ransom. Let me go see, if you let me go see my daughter who's, 11 months, I'll come back once you got the date, and she can see the before and the after. And the judge was like, yeah, you sound like a pretty eloquent man. You'll make a good lawyer when you get out. Right. Bang the gavel. And as I was walking away, I was cursing under my breath. Mm-hmm. And the correction officer told me, shut up, you crackhead. And I was like, me? You right. Called me a crackhead? And I cursed this man out. I called him every name under the sun. I talked about his mother. And I don't know why he didn't beat me up. I don't know why. But the last thing I told him was, I'll show you, I'll finish this program, and I'll come back and I'll tell you to kiss my butt.
And what age were you when that happened?
I'm 56 now. Mm-hmm. So 22 years before 56 wow. Is
wow.
around 34.
34 years. Yep.
So what happened was I finished the program in a year, no dirty urines, no police contact, no trouble. And I was asked to speak at the graduation. And from what I understand, I was the first person to be asked to speak at the graduation. And then I came back and I was looking for that CO to tell him to kiss my butt, but I couldn't find him. But I'm very, very grateful, to the court process, the drug court process, because they helped me out. And for many years, I was involved with them as an alumni, and and after I got out of the institution I was in, I was able to link up with a place called Beacon House that serviced veterans. And they helped me on my journey to continue my journey in recovery. And it was awesome. I still to this day am in contact with the people from Beacon House, because I work, I'm in another organization, and they provide us, and we go in with, get free turkeys and give it to people who in need of turkey dinners and stuff for Thanksgiving. So it's pretty cool.
Just an amazing recovery story. So you've been recovered since that 1 year program you were in?
Yes. I was in it was 30 days I was in the program. And then I went to a sober house, as they call it.
Right.
And I was at the sober house for another about 8 months. And then I met my girlfriend and we moved in together, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm sure there are people there, I'm guessing, who did not make it through the program.
Oh yeah. Relapse is a big part of this. Like, everybody doesn't make it. And, they say, you hit your floor and you hit your bottom, but a lot of people don't understand that every bottom has a trap door. You can always go lower.
Absolutely. That's my next question was going to be that there's always this mythical rock bottom that people supposedly need to reach before they can recover. But now with fentanyl as part of the game, with the opioids and everything, rock bottom could mean dead.
Yes.
So walk us through rock bottom, what it used to mean, what it means now, what it doesn't mean.
Well, rock bottom is your bottom. Nobody can tell you what your bottom is. Whatever you feel is the bottom for you can start you on the road of recovery. The difference in addicts is heroin addicts and opioid addicts, they run to the thing that causes death because that's what they want. And a crack addict, we just run to the next one. Right. So when you have a heroin addict or opioid addict per se, they hear of the stuff that somebody died from this certain batch. Oh, let me go find that batch. And the crack addict is like, nah, just give me the next one. And a lot of us as addicts, we slowly try to kill ourselves because we're too coward to actually do it.
Very, very powerful. Very powerful. I wanna switch gears now into, you talk about giving back and things of that nature. I'm lucky enough to be one of the associate producers of the soon to be released documentary Surviving the Hill, which you're in. And this, of course, features recovering opioid addict Stephen Hill. Besides being Stephen's tutor almost 20 years ago, I was also the co-author of his memoir, A Journey to Recovery, Speak Sobriety. Shameless plug, here it is.
Oh, wow.
So very powerful book, very powerful story.
Right.
So obviously the documentary is special to me. I know it's special to you. I've also worked very closely with the executive producer from Supernatural Inc., Janelle Mecca Holmes. But Terence, how did you get involved in the film?
Janelle came to me with the idea of seeing another side of addiction, because there's more to addiction than just opioids and heroin. There's all different facets of addiction, and so when he came to me, I said it sounded like a real good idea, and I was honored that he even thought of me and asked me to be a part of.
The part that you played is your part, so it's not acting, which makes it all the more disturbing as somebody who viewed the film. You mentioned something that's both true and very disturbing in the film. You say that drug addiction has been around for a very long time, but only became a recognized problem when it hit the white community. Can you expand on that for us?
Well, when I was coming up, as I said, my father was a heroin addict. So in the 70s, in their city, you saw all the heroin addicts. They were all dressed up and all that, but you would see them nodding, but you wouldn't exactly know what it was until you got a little bit older.
Right.
And it was never like a big thing until you started getting senators and judges and people in higher, I want to say, in a higher level of living. Their kids started being affected by it. Now they want to, create laws, Rockefeller laws and stuff like that, because it's affecting their children. When it's affecting the Black community, oh, nah, they good. Let them go ahead. Let them die. It's all right. I'm very upset about that. Being a veteran and having people in the community not respect each other because of a color of a skin or because of your religion. I fought. I put my life on the line for people to be able to express themselves any way they want to and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, and for people to put people into a little box because of the color of their skin, their religion, their sexual preference. I think that's unfair.
There's no better argument than the argument you just made. And I have to tell you that often when we have guests on the show, I always talk about the story behind the glory when I interview guests. In my opinion, your glory is that you are a recovering addict. So Tell me what sobriety has meant to you.
Recovery has meant so much to me. Yeah, they say it's far beyond your wildest dreams. It's far beyond my wildest dreams. I when I first came into recovery, I just wanted to be able to go to work on Saturday after Friday and still have money in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Now I have a family, I have kids, I have grandkids, I have a whole life. Like, my family loves me. My family, like, at times my family didn't even want to be bothered with me because I was a disgrace to them. And I could respect that. Like, I could remember going to my family's house and like go to use the bathroom when I was using, and they'd be like knocking on the door, like, yo, what's taking you so long in there? You all right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because they thought that I was stealing something, or, I might have killed myself in there or died in their bathroom or something. So I made them real uneasy. Today, like, I'm like the patriarch of my family, even though I'm not. I'm like that because I keep in touch with everybody. Right. Like I have family members all across the country, and I call them every day. I'll call somebody every day and be like, "Yo, listen, cuz I just called to tell you I love you. Auntie, I just called to tell you I love you." You know, and I'm so grateful for God's grace and mercy allowing me to have this opportunity to live my life. Like I'm a 2-time felon, and I work for the federal government, the state, and now I work for a Fortune 500 company.
That's quite a 360-degree situation there. And I can't thank enough for telling us so much about your personal story, but I have to dig one little bit deeper because I think it's so important for viewers and extremely important for parents of teens. So drug addiction is not easy, but recovery is very difficult. So what I would love to hear from you is, in the darkest hour of recovery, where did you reach? How did you overcome the addiction that took over your body, took over your brain, took over your family, took over your life? How did you keep overcoming those hurdles to reach sobriety?
All right, short story real quick. And what happened was I have a best friend, and she's a female. And when I came into recovery, she took me by the hand and she said, "Yo, you gonna go with me everywhere we go." And she would take me from state to state, you know, into different conventions where there's thousands of recovering addicts. And I've never been in that place. So I was at we had a home group, and we needed new readings. And there was in the city, there was a convention. So she was like, "Meet me here on this day so you can get the readings." So I went in there, and they have what they call a clean time countdown. And that's in the auditorium with every addict, and whatever amount of clean time you jump up for your clean time and celebrate it when they call your number. So they, for some reason, which they don't usually do, they started at 60 days. You know, they started counting down from 60 days. They usually start from 30. So they said 60, and I had 59. And when they were saying 60, it was like 10 people jumped up. Yeah. And it was like 59. And I jumped up, and I looked around to see who had the same amount of time as me. And it was nobody but me. I can tell you, I've never felt so alone in a room full of people than I did in that moment. So when I looked around and I felt the feeling I felt, I said to myself, I will never have 59 days again. So I continue on a daily basis. Sometimes it's a second, even with the amount of time I have. Right. Sometimes in the second, I have to like say the serenity prayer and like pray that I could get through it, you know. But those feelings come few and far between, you know. And you know, I had a friend used to say, "Yo, listen, when you have a drug dream," he said, "Yo, before you go to bed, put your money on your nightstand." He said, "So when you wake up and you see your money still on the table, you got a free high." So the drug dream ain't that bad.
Right, absolutely. Well, you know, yeah, you have so much experience. What advice would you give to young people who think about experimenting with drugs? Oh, just only one beer. Oh, it's only a little marijuana. What's one pill going to do for you? What's one oxy going to do? What advice would you give to young people?
Don't do it. Don't do it. This disease is so vicious, cunning, baffling, and insidious. It will tell you don't have a disease. And it speaks to you in a voice that's oh so familiar, and it's your own. And it tell you like, you ain't got a problem. Yeah. Nobody will know you're getting high.
Right.
You know, and that's the crazy part about it, because your own mind will tell you that you ain't got a problem.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
And that's when the problem
it.
starts, for sure.
Yeah.
So I know there's a huge preview set for Hagerstown this summer, and I want to, first of all, congratulate you for adding so much value to the documentary, Terence. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Very important. It's debuting this summer on Tubi TV, Plex TV, Vudu Fandango, Amazon Video Direct, Google Play, and so many other video-on-demand platforms. So, Terence Fredericks, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your incredible personal journey of overcoming addiction and working even harder towards helping others enhance their lives. So I do want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
To the viewers, don't forget to watch us on E360 TV, available on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. EST, available on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Remember to follow us on social media. Life Stories with Marc Hoberman is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and of course, our YouTube channel. So subscribe. Terence Fredericks, thank you so much for being here today.
I got one more thing to say.
Please do.
If you don't pick it up, you can't get high.
Thank you. Words of wisdom, gold from Mr. Terence Fredericks. Thank you so much, Terence.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman. To contact Marc, email him at info@lifestorieswithmarchoberman.com or visit him on social media through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching Life Stories with Marc Hoberman.